Welcome, everyone. This is Pound News, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week, I'm joined by Krister
Hello.
and Sanswinda.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Are you all ready for release notes?
Oh, oh, I forgot about this part.
You forgot it's release week. All right, let's have a look at this. Is update 47, Folly of Kings. And this was released on March 4th, 2026. And of special note, this included a new raid, The Folly of Nagaketi. The Folly of Nagaketi is now available at Tier 1. Account ownership of the Kingdoms of Harad expansion is required for access. Learn more about the Kingdoms of Harad at LOTRO.com. Tier 2 opens at noon Eastern on Thursday, March the 12th. Tier 3 opens at noon Eastern on Thursday, March 19th. And the Leading the Charge deed for Folly of Nagaketi will be available until 3 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, May 14th. Reminder that the Leading the Charge deeds for the Kingdoms of Harad instances continues until 3 a.m. on Eastern on March 16th. Also, the 17th Legendary Items Reward Track has arrived. The newest Legendary Item Rewards Track is here. The Legendary Items Reward Track is available to all players starting at level 45 and can be accessed through the menu Character Reward Track. New rewards for the 17th track include the Tome of Vibrant Spotted Bog Lurker Cosmetic Pet, the Tome of the Rose-Colored Mumak Calf Cosmetic Pet.
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that one.
Rose-colored Mumak.
Rose-colored, yeah.
It's Mumak.
It's not quite sharp plum, though.
Phew. I'm glad.
The Incomparable Coffer of the Wild Pasture Weapon Aura, and the Legendary Coffer of the Wild Pasture Hoofprints. The 17th Legendary Item Reward Track continues until 9:59 a.m. Eastern on June the 3rd. So, a new season of the reward track in there. So, let's see if we can start to earn our way towards that Mumak. So, I presume you have both of the currently existing Mumaks, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
And I think we're up to 3.
Yeah, this brings it up to. I did
No, I
check
think
that
this
on
is
the.
4.
Well, I only saw 3 on the pet menu.
Okay, maybe. But I definitely have 3 on Sans Window right now that are available to pull out.
Which is missing on the pet menu then?
I don't know. I don't have the game up right now. But there was a new Mumak pet that was recently released. I know none of them are mounts, because I would definitely remember if one of them was an awesome mount.
Yeah, I'm sure you would be ecstatic if one of them were a mount. If they ever have a Mumak mount, it's probably going to be one of those, a mini Mumak.
It's going to be a new
Probably.
Ice Age in Middle Earth because everybody will be riding them if they ever come out with them. Mumaks everywhere.
You wouldn't be because since it'll be a regular mount, it won't have trample.
Yeah, well, that's why. Come on, if they're going to bring out a regular mammoth, then they need to bring out a war mammoth.
A war mammoth. Okay. Well,
Or a war Mumak. I'm sorry.
a war Mumak, yes. A war Mumak. And I'm sure the Haradrim certainly have set a precedence for such a thing existing in Middle Earth.
And you should just be able to trample anything with that. Not just people. Just any building, any mountain.
That's why they're not doing it. They don't want to give you that power. The power of Mumak. Yes. Now, let's head into what is new in this update. First, for classes, skills, and traits. For the Bjorning, the blue line version of Ferocious Roar will now properly bestow the Rattling War deed. For the Brawler, Come at Me now correctly taunts enemies for 5 seconds. Vulnerability now reduces enemy critical chances rather than incoming damage. And Strike as One now lasts 15 seconds and grants a larger buff when solo, but a smaller buff when affecting allies. For the Burglar, clever retort builders now have diminishing returns. Bloodletter's melee damage buff reduced from 369% to 123%. Burglar's damage reduced by 5%. You can hear many a burglar groan from that one. No, they're too quiet to groan. That's right. And Mischievous Delight once again restores power to your fellowship. For the Captain, Exhaustion's duration from the 2 arms effect has been increased from 25 seconds to 35 seconds.
What?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I mean, maybe
take-
3 seconds, but
Well,
sorry.
for the Champion, Emboldened Blades at Tier 5 will now cause remorseless strikes to hit multiple enemies. And Raging Blade damage has been increased by 25%. Alright, I'll do the Guardians last since they're the longest one. For the Hunter, Hunter damage has been reduced by 5%.
Boo.
Yes, I heard some complaints from hunters on that one. Non-blue spec hunters will now be able to build focus while moving using skills that generate +1 focus on use, even if they are starting with 0 focus. Focus reduction over time still applies for non-blue spec hunters, but the window is now applied more consistently on an interval rather than immediately when the hunter first gains focus. Explosive Decoy now properly explodes more quickly, and its ghost does not linger to taunt your enemies. I suspect that a lot of hunters liked that it taunted the enemies.
I kind of wish I had seen its ghost lingering around taunting enemies.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a visible ghost or not.
I need to test that again, because the last time I did it, it was exploding, but not doing any damage when it exploded, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's what people asked for, was to do some damage, not to be nerfed again. Oh, but Explosive Decoy now properly explodes more quickly, and you're right, it does explode more
It
quickly.
says it explodes more quickly, so I need to go test it and see if it's doing damage.
Yeah, okay, yes. And another tier of hunter reputation has been added.
I don't know if that was actually applicable to the hunter class.
Yeah, that sounds like the hunter camp and not the
And
hunter
not the
class.
hunter
So
class.
somebody put a note in the wrong area.
I mean, unless all the other classes now have to gain reputation with hunters in order to get a ride around Middle Earth.
Yeah, that's right.
But
You
that seems
cannot
unlikely.
you cannot use the hunter port skill until you have rep with the hunter.
Oh, that would be probably even more strain on their systems.
More strain on their system than traveling rations were.
Probably.
Yeah. Let's go to the Lore Master. The Flame of Honor's AoE Wizard's Fire damage no longer hits your current target twice. Searing Ember's damage has been reduced by 10%. Murder Crow's potency has been increased from 25% to 30%, and the cooldown has been increased from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and the duration reduced from 20 seconds to 17 seconds. So that means it's doing the same damage over a shorter period of time, it sounds like.
But you have to wait longer to use it again,
Yeah.
which seems very rude since it's up for a shorter amount of time.
Oh, well. Major command to arms buff potency has been increased from 10% to 12.5%. For the Mariner, moving winds potency reduced from 5% to 2.5%. West wind cooldown is reduced from 90 seconds to 80 seconds. The dynamic flourish effect,
Dramatic?
imitating a master of war buff potency, has been reduced from 25% to 10%.
Oof.
Having your balance forcibly reset to neutral now applies a short debuff, minus 75% incoming healing and plus 10% incoming damage for 4 seconds rather than stunning you. And stumbling forwards miss chance penalty has been removed and has been replaced with a minus 3% mitigations. All right. As for the balance being reset, I have a feeling that was because one of the most common times when I know that one gets forcibly reset is that your target dies just before you use a skill that when done will allow you to reset. So now you're stuck at this high range for a little while, and I guess it's annoying to be stunned right at the end of a combat. So that might be
Fair.
one of the reasons. It might be a reason why they changed it that way.
I can see that being
don't.
less annoying.
I don't. I have not heard an official reason for the change.
Fair.
For the minstrel, chord of salvation is no longer immediate when the dissonance of melody stance. Oh, in dissonance or melody stance. Chord remains immediate in resonance. Improved chord of salvation skill tooltip has been cleaned up slightly. Its AoE effects now both have a range of 20 meters. And chord of my salvation healing has been increased by 50%.
Though you might not get it off in time because now it has a delay.
Oh, it's no longer. Yes. Thanks for reminding me of that first note I said in there. Well, that's the question is whether or not chord of my salvation
I'm pretty
got
sure that's
changed
the
to a not.
dissonance stance, Court of Salvation. It might not
Oh,
be. But
that's right. Yeah,
usually in dissonance stance, you can only heal yourself.
right. Wait, yes, but actually, in dissonant stance, chord it would be the one with chord of my salvation. Oh, that's right. So
Right, so
therefore,
it
chord of
has.
salvation.
It's not going to be immediate, but it's going to heal you
Right.
better, so start it early.
Started early. Yes. For the Runekeeper, the trait Scathing Retort now causes Smoldering Wrath to burn faster and tear down Writ of Flame to deal bonus damage. Fiery Ridicule no longer has an induction
Ooh.
and can no longer target multiple enemies with the max rank of Conflagration of Runes.
Hmm.
That is, shall we say, a controversial change?
Yeah, that would be pretty controversial because, yeah, it. I don't know about that. The lack of induction is nice, but you should be able to add back the induction to target multiple people if you want, I think. I think that would have made more
Well,
sense.
oh well, I don't think I use Fiery Ridicule that much, or that I think the rare times I use it, I've only ever used it against one target. So, but I have a feeling that plenty of runekeepers are complaining about this particular change. For the Warden,
Ooh.
Warden damage has been increased by 5%, plus 10% damage for some shield gambits, and plus 20 to 40% damage for the Wall of Steel and Boar Rushes line gambits. I did I know I did a little play with the warden in there, but I was not looking specifically at whether or not I was killing things faster. So I had forgotten to check that out. So maybe next week I could remember on that particular matter. Unfortunately, I didn't take any bench lines from before this to do a good comparison. Wall of Steel and Boar's Rush Gambits now have short diminishing returns effects, lowering their damage if the same gambit is used multiple times in a short period. Shield Up, Ready Blade, and Shield Mastery Gambits all now deal AoE damage. +1 dot pulse from all gambits in the Spirit Virtue / Fate Gambit line. The Warden's Triumph Gambit has been removed. Its effects are now always active passively when the Warden's Triumph trait is active. And determination-specific threat effects have been improved in several gambits. Now, to the long one, the Guardians. Note, the Guardian Save trait tree has been reset due to changes in traits. And Cinders has told us that she has already done her retraining and was surprised because the yellow line ones were costing 1 instead of 2. So it sounds like then that she got a few more traits in than she was expecting when she redid her trait line over on this one, because the yellow line, I guess that's now a general one instead of a specialization tree. I guess we'll find out when we read this. Charge effect. What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Charge effects are no longer removed when exhausting an attack while using the trait tree Defender of the Free. All right. Shield Wall will no longer remove or block the use of protection by the sword. We have increased the range on the defensive portion of protection by the sword to 60 meters. The parry response effect will only trigger when the protected target is within 20 meters of the Guardian. Stamp is now earned at level 16. Challenge is now granted by specializing in Defender of the Free. Fray the Edge base cooldown is increased to 30 meters, to 30 seconds, sorry. And Fray the Edge cooldown is now reduced to 15 seconds when specializing in Defender of the Free. The disorientation trait has been removed. Smashing Strike, formerly Smashing Stab, is now a general skill earned at level 34. Smashing Strike bonus effects are now mutually exclusive, and Smashing Strikes must be used directly after either Shield Swipe or Retaliation in order to gain a bonus effect. Smashing Strike can now be used while wielding a two-handed weapon. Smashing Strike's bleed now pulses every 3 seconds rather than every 2 seconds. And the Break Ranks effect now applies a Smashing Strike rather than a Shield Taunt. Alright, and... okay. The Shield Spikes trait has now decoupled from consumable spikes and now always benefits shield skills. I'm sure Cinders was happy about that one.
That should be pretty nice.
And protection by the sword no longer grants auto crit to the user. Shield Smash no longer stuns foes. I'm sure she's not happy about that one.
Yeah, that seems weird.
To the King can no longer knock down foes. Insult to Injury is now Wary Warrior, which causes Guardian's Ward buff to increase your melee damage. Base Guardian's Ward buff duration increased from 10 seconds to 30 seconds. Demoralizing Anthem no longer reduces the active cooldown of Righteous Fury. The max chance to gain blind rage has been reduced from 100% to 25%.
Oof.
Blind rage now increases your incoming damage by 5% while active. New redline trait, Reckless Assault. Grants the skill Reckless Attack, which requires and consumes blind rage. Ranks 2 to 5 increases skill damage by 5% each. So you'll want max on that if you're a red line guard. Rank 5 causes critical hits with Reckless Attack to grant a parry response. Stagger now removes corruptions rather than sting. And Thrill of Danger no longer costs power to execute. Charge cooldown reduced from 60 seconds to 40 seconds. And charge tracery effect reduced from plus 11 seconds to plus 3.3 seconds. And that is it for the class changes. Any comments on any class changes before I go on?
It feels like the people that are making all these changes are wardens.
No. If they were wardens, wardens would have had a lot more DPS re-added because warden DPS really stinks these days.
Okay, well then I guess so.
In all days, as far as I know.
Wardens didn't get blessed. It was just that now they stink less.
Well, okay, but do you remember back when Mordor came out? Warden damage was pretty good.
It was.
Like,
yep.
you could round up that whole room in that dwarf area. Like, you could just go round and round and round, gather them all up, and then demolish them. It was incredible. I watched some wardens do it, and I was like, I am going to be a warden. And I started playing warden, and I had so much fun. And I got a warden all the way to level 60. And
then the nerf came along?
Then they nerfed it. And every so often I pick it back up again, and I go out to start killing something, and I'm like, no. I did not pick this up because I wanted really low DPS. I picked this up because I was hoping it was going to be fun again. So.
Oh, well. Now, I remember.
Not in a tanking stance. Just for the record, I have not run my
warden. Oh, you were not in a tanking stance
on purpose. No, I wanted to do damage and have fun with it. And yeah, it hasn't been fun for a while, so.
I know that I think it's a little bit better now than it used to be because lately I've been running in Redline without dying very, very quickly. Because I had been running on a tank line because I could not, for a long time, grab something in Redline and expect to live through it. So I either improved my warren to such a point that I'm able to survive now in it, or there was some other improvement along the way in the more recent updates that allowed me to do it. But for a long time, I could not play a red line warden. So therefore, I was playing blue line while soloing.
Fair, that would be painful.
Yeah, that was painful. One of my most infamous ones was at the gates of Mordor, just outside of Mordor, when we were near the Towers of Teeth. I was doing something where every time I would kill a mob, the other mob there, because there were two mobs there, so when I kill one, the other one would respawn. So therefore, I go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, sort of endlessly killing the same two mobs, and then a minstrel comes by and blows them up and one-shots it.
Yeah.
So that was okay. Not doing enough damage.
Right?
Yeah.
All
right. So let's go into quests then.
All right.
The quest recovering relics has been fixed. You must now collect items from the Orcakai in Jag Golold to complete the quest. Apparently, the wrong Orcakai were dropping them. Either that or all Orcakai were dropping them or something like this. Whatever was the case, it wasn't quite working. The quest, Protectors of Wilderland Bounties, can now be canceled. It will also no longer auto-bestow and will instead become available in the Quest Actions Available tab. In the Minas Tirith quest, in Days of Youth, the empty bottle of Baron's blood will now be placed on the ground as expected. An issue has been resolved that prevented the animation of putting it down from playing. Travelers and adventurers quartermasters across the world now offer a repeatable weekly quest to trade embers of enchantment for virtue experience. We have made it easier to swap from your fishing rod to your weapon before combat begins when running the Hootball Daily Quest Terror of the Deep.
That will help all non-hunters.
They should just turn fishing rods into weapons.
That would be fun.
Well, they are
Unlikely, but-
effectively weapons. Very poor weapons.
Yeah, I should have been more specific. Into effective weapons.
Into effective weapons, yes. To effective weapons. That's an entirely different matter. Did some work to help prevent the wound crazed Olog from being unattackable during the instance Mordor Triumphant. We have added 2 new regional daily quests to Adagim and Kijan, 3 new regional daily quests in Anshru and Idigal, and these quests join the rotation of daily quests available from the regional boards in these zones. And we removed the reputation reward on the Adagim daily scouting quest to match the other quests of this type. The reward structure for reputation is built into the reward given by completing the quest in the form of reputation consumables. For deeds and reputation, class deeds will no longer display a tooltip in the deed log that refers to obsolete trait points. After how many years?
A few.
For instances and skirmishes, it is now possible to start private encounters from inside a housing neighborhood.
Yay!
At long last.
And there was much
I haven't had a
rejoicing.
chance to test it out yet, though.
I haven't tested it either, but I'm excited.
Yeah, all right. In the treasure caves of Harumkana, reduced blade flurry, flesh rend, and poison blades damage. Reduced the molten gold hotspot damage. Fixed an issue wherein certain boss abilities would not correctly target the main threat. Poison blades is now correctly classified as a poison. And reduced the number of treasure tornadoes within Barlat's fight on all tiers. Now, I have not had a chance to run this since the update, so I have no idea whether it is doable by a player of my not exactly bright caliber, or if it still requires someone who is super good in order to do it. For Kaltharau, Wailing Hold, the Smashed Bones ability has been reworked for bosses 1 and 3. This skill still stacks, but is now cleansable. However, at harder difficulties, it starts at a higher stack. For boss 2, the respawn add waves should no longer spawn in solo and tier 1 unintentionally following a wipe.
Ouch. That
Would have been really painful.
That might explain some things. I trying to remember if we had attempted that one. If it did, then that could explain some things. And monsters in Kothrau, the Wailing Hold, should no longer stand around waiting for orders when entering combat. For Ikalnebi, the Fallen Palace, Dark Priestess Barkarani, Tier 3, fixed an issue where Haunting Spectre spawning could be inconsistent. They should more reliably start spawning 10 seconds into the phase. Every 45 seconds after that, and up to 3 times per phase. Increased cooldown on Haunting Spectre's Shadow Claw. Thrill the Entangler on all tiers. Pool of Madness. Far Zone is no longer avoidable by going to the very edges of the room. Oh, did they make it larger? The zone
Apparently.
larger, I guess? Okay, well, wait. Pool of Madness Far Zone is okay. In other words, it pulls the people who are the furthest away, I guess, in.
Fair. Probably.
Yeah. Rotuko the Bloody lockup skill is no longer has an induction. As for items and rewards, Lore Master traceries are now sorted more appropriately in the Rivendell archives. And we have added 9 new baubles depicting the ring rays from the Veil of the Nine. These baubles can only be acquired through barter on the legendary servers Angmar and Mordor. All right. For PvMP and the Entmoors, taking control of Tirith Rao as a monster will now reward you with the treasure key for the location. And taking it as a player will reward you with the treasure key for the locations.
So taking it in Tirith Ra will reward you with a treasure key.
Essentially, yes. That is what they're saying.
Cool.
I don't know why they needed 2 notes for that.
I don't know either, but it works for
Maybe
monster players and player
the
players.
keys are different.
They might be different keys.
All right. Gates constructed at Tirith Ra and Lugazag now properly reset after the tower boss is defeated. Adjusted the Marta purchased mitigations potions to match their store-bought counterparts. Entmore's bows are now correctly set to a minimum level of 160. We have replaced the reward on the monster player's quest counter assault to benefit monster players, not free players.
Woohoo!
Okay, it was giving the
It's a
wrong
monster
reward.
player
Right.
quest, and it was giving the wrong, an unusable reward.
Yeah, that's what it was doing. Corrected an issue where monster players could endlessly collect the items needed for the quest, Master Design Quest. Corrected a typo in the description of the Two-Face Spinner appearance trade item. Many members of the Cold Fells Army have undergone extensive training programs and received better preserved rations, increasing their health. Cold Fells Army Captain Generals should now have health more commensurate with their tyrant counterparts. And for Roared leaders, Scorn healing potency has been reduced slightly, and Scorn petty criticism, crack the whip, and quit whining and fight power costs have been increased slightly. As for landscape and adventure areas, mounted combat skills will no longer be intermittently available in Cardaland and Swanfleet. They will be unavailable throughout those areas. So Crisser can no longer
Randomly
trample foes in the.
things.
What?
But he would never know that he could randomly trample them unless he was really looking while he was riding through, because it's a low-level area.
Yeah,
I am looking all the time. I test all the time. I test the limits of trample in Middle Earth in all directions at all times.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. Several unreachable resource nodes in Adagim and Anjuru have been fixed. Guthi in Moria's Flaming Deeps at the Crossroads of Ash has found a new goat that you can use to travel to Nud Melek to complete the quest Leaving the Deeps. The far-ranging stable master of the 21st Hall has been labeled as such. Lungana, Aralath, Alhamar, and Semanisi, the quartermasters for the 4 factions of the Kingdoms of Harad, are now correctly labeled quartermaster. Barrels and Hootbold should no longer murder players.
Okay, that's pretty great.
Z fighting in Klager has been fixed. Rendering and physics issues in the Wailing Hold have been fixed. And the haunt of Kitubala exists to the correct location when leaving from a non-instance version of the space.
I was just gonna
As for
say,
local, yeah.
I wonder how many butlers were suspected of murdering Hoopold. Imagine a murder mystery, and everybody thinks, "Oh, it must be the butler," and no, it was a barrel.
A barrel. Is that? Oh well, it started with a B. That's close enough.
Didn't they have that in Clue? It was the butler in the with a barrel in the conservatory.
Yeah, but this is a barrel.
Must be for
without
addition
help.
of clues I never had.
This is just a barrel acting all on its own. Okay, sorry. I was just amused.
For localization, the area door map now properly displays Yondershire in French and German. For shared storage, added an option to the context menu to allow you to purge character-bound items from carryalls. This is intended for carryalls placed in shared storage by transferred or deleted characters so that non-bound items in the carryall itself can be recovered.
That should help.
All right. For UI and miscellaneous, fixed a bug that caused the inspect display viewport to scale uncontrollably when altered by a custom user skin. Monster Play fixed an issue in the Open Groups tab of the social panel where the class filter menu did not properly list all of the available classes. For German, fix an issue with the functions button and the kinship panel being different sizes and overlapping. And the cursor scaling has more increments. And I did test this out. And yes, I found that 1.3 is the ideal size for my cursor, at least at this time. So it looks like it goes in steps of 3. So 1.3, 1. I can't remember what his next one's 1.6 and 1.7 then 2. And I think it goes up like that.
Nice.
And as for known issues, ring wraith baubles earned on Angmar and Mordor are not properly claiming across the game account and are instead only displayed in the collections panel of the character that earned the bauble. This feature will be included in a future game update. So therefore, I was wondering whether those new baubles were unlocked for the account or just on the server. So apparently it was intended to be across the account, but it's not working that way yet. The in-game cursor is overly large when post-processing effects is disabled in your advanced graphics settings. Okay, I was wondering why I was seeing people complaining about the in-game cursor being way too large, and I did not see that issue at all. So apparently, they did some troubleshooting to it and found out it was related to the post-processing effects then. And there are a smaller number of missions available in Sul Madash every day than intended. Additional missions will arrive in the next game update. I will be discussing this a little bit more when we get to the Bull Roarer notes. And anyway, those are the updates for update 47, Folly of Kings. And Krister, you said you didn't have a chance to do the raid yet, right?
No, but I last night I hung out with our ploy folks, and several of them have been doing the raid, and so we talked extensively about it. So I'm looking
Okay.
forward to it. Seems like people were enjoying it, and that with the recent changes, it was, I guess, a lot of people were getting stuck on the first boss, from what I understand. And so the changes that you just listed, I think made it easier to get past the first boss. And they get stuck at the second
Well,
boss.
it couldn't be because the change that I talked about was for the 6-player instance. Well, the
Oh,
raid
I'm sorry.
raid is brand new.
And they haven't changed it yet. Never mind.
Well, speaking of changes, we do have a board this week. We did have a board this week for update 47.1. And based on some of the stuff I see in here, I'm suspecting that this is due to be released next week because I'm guessing this is what's going to include Tier 2 because we said that Tier 2 would be coming out next week. So my guess is that Tier 2 is going to be included in this update as well. And we'll see what else is in here. For update 47.1, Folly of Kings beta number 1. First off, 10 new missions and delvings are available for Murjala. All right. Visit Varazar in Adagim and Jorlar in Zijana within Kijan to pick up new missions to conquer the fresh challenges of Murjala. Each mission giver has 5 new missions available. Missions in Adagim and Kijan are now split in over 2 days. Come back to see the next day to see a different set of missions. Now, this is related to that little known issue that we talked about earlier relating to where you're only seeing half the missions, because what they did is that they had split the missions so they split the missions in half, and so on one day you're going to get 2 old missions plus 3 new ones, and on the other day you'll get 3 old ones and 2 new ones. So that's how they are working them. And what happened is they implemented the split before they added the missions. And they did not implement the thing that allowed it to it looks like that they didn't also update the thing that updated the set to it, because it was always repeating the same 2 in one place. It was only getting 2 missions, so therefore you're only seeing 2 missions there. The other one, it was seeing 3 missions there, and it was always the same ones. So it wasn't alternating as I would have expected it to. So I don't expect it to do a pure alternation. And the reason why I'm saying that, meaning going 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, they can't do that because that would be an even, because that's an even number. So therefore, you would always have a given mission having only 3 different possible delvings that it could be related to. So because of the way delvings work, they're probably going to do something like 1 2 1 2 2 or 1 1 1 2 2 or something like that. In other words, they're probably going to do something that's 5 5, where they're going to have, and that one of them is going to be done more than the other one. I can't think of any other way, because they did something similar to that when they did the Ecoban Valley. I think it was the Ecoban Valley missions where they had to do something funny like that in order to make sure that you didn't always have the same delving. I forgot what they call those stupid debuffs that they have in delvings. So because you would always get the same ones if you had it something that was a number of days that was divisible by 2 or 3. So they had to do it by 5, and it's unfortunately can't take you can't take 2 sets and put it into 5. The math doesn't work out very well. Oh well, that's the problem that they have with the Yeah, that's always been those weird things about trying to get them so that they don't accidentally have a resonance with each other. So we'll see. But the entire point is though is that when we have the next update, we will have 5 of them as just that it'll alternate into some sort of pattern in there. I have to find out what the pattern is on there. I did go to Bull Roarer, and it looks like they didn't have the cycler on that one either, so it was always giving the same. It was giving 5 missions at those 2 locations. So at one, 2 new, 3 old, and the other one at 3 old and 2 new. It's just that it was always on the same day still, so it also wasn't cycling. I hope they fix that when they come into it, but we will have 5 in there. We have to see next week on how things are progressing. But the idea there is that we'll be cycling between 2 different days as we go through on the mess. I did though have a chance to see 5 of the new missions as a result of my testing in there, but not the other 5. We'll see how that works out. Monster Play Rewards Season 6 is now available. Beginning with Update 47.1, Monster Player Reward tracks will be extended to a 3-month duration, and moving forward, the Monster Player Rewards timing will coincide with the Legendary Item Rewards track. The Season 6 track will be available to complete through June 2nd, 2026. You will still need to unlock the Monster Trait Rewards track on the LOTRO store, and an active VIP membership will receive a 50% discount on the track. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. And Spring Festival 2026. This year's Spring Festival begins March the 12th, so I will presume that will be the day of the update, and will run through March 31st. Actually, that might be the day after the update. I think the update's going to be on March 11th, and the Spring Festival will start on the 12th. Spring has sprung in Middle-earth. Everyone is invited to celebrate the Hobbits of Clegor in Swanfleet as they enjoy their Daffodil Days event. There you will find new festival quests with their on daily and weekly wrappers that can be advanced in tandem with the main Spring Festival wrappers. You can get the party started by talking to Hugberg Larch at the Breland Festival grounds, who is tasting some fine ale. New rewards. Okay, the rewards were not yet ready for on Bulwer, but I will presume that they'll be ready before the release. I would hope so. Now, as for other changes that they have, for NPCs and monsters, Ordekai Battle Cats will now attack on their own and no longer require being attacked first. I am not convinced that they actually fixed that because I was in a mission that involved Ordekai cats and they did not attack me on their own. So I think they may still need a little bit of work on that. For instances and skirmishes, the Hobbit tutorial instance, The Road Through the Dark, Celandine will no longer T-pose. As for items and rewards, you can no longer use the boots of quite imaginable power, the enormous boots, or the dwarf club of unimaginable power while in bearer form as a Bjorning. Tracery token packages awarded by quests and deeds that were generating general errors and could not be used because if they were missing their max contents level should now be stamped with level 160 and be usable. And that's it. That was in the Borer for update 47.1 beta number 1. I will presume that next week I'll be reading pretty close to the same notes for update 47.1 proper release. We'll have to see.
Well, if that's the case, the next time you read them, could you do it in an outrageous accent?
In an outrageous accent.
Yeah, if you're going to be reading the same thing over again, we need to spice it up a little.
And what outrageous accent would you be expecting me to do it in?
With you, it's quite apparent. Danish.
Danish.
And not the people, the food.
So you have to do it while eating a Danish pine leaf.
You weren't
Now,
expecting that, were you?
no, I was not. All right. We also have a note on the Monster Player Reward Track update. I did go briefly on this before, and that is as the title suggests, we are making some adjustments to the Monster Player Reward Track. We have been pleased with the performance and interaction of the MP Reward Track. However, the pace of releases and the reward structure needed some refinement to allow for continued support. Starting with the release of Update 47.1, the Monster Player Reward Track will be aligned in duration and release cadence with the traditional Legendary Item Reward Track. Well, it was always so confusing before, so thankfully they're doing that. The track, like the Legendary Item Reward Track, will now have 100 levels and associated rewards. Progress beyond level 100 will continue to reward boxes of 100 Marta, the currency used to purchase items associated with the Monster Play reward track. The updated reward structure will include 30 boxes of 100 Marta each, 20 boxes containing the morale and power potions also available from outpost vendors, 20 boxes containing physical and tactical mitigation potions also available from outpost vendors, 10 boxes containing schematics for catapults and ballistae, also available from outpost vendors, and 9 boxes containing glory potions and build acceleration potions, also available from outpost vendors, 7 weapon cosmetics and march effect cosmetics, 2 appearance selection boxes, 1 seasonal title boxes, and 1 seasonal portrait box. Oh, I will presume that adds up to 100. Yeah, that's 100. During the current season of the Monster Player Reward Track, all appearance items available as rewards will also be obtainable via barter at a reduced Marta cost. Appearances from previous reward tracks will be made available on the same barter vendors in Grandsfoot at an increased Marta cost. Over time, we plan to add previously released cosmetic items from past reward tracks to barter vendors to purchase using Marta. Moving forward, the portrait earned from completing the Monster Reward track as a Monster player can be earned for all Monster players on the account. Second, the portrait purchased with Marta on the player side will be both tradable and available for auction. Lastly, in addition to the extension and reward structure changes, the cost of the track has been adjusted. The Monster Player Reward track will increase in cost to 895 LOTRO points for non-VIP players, and VIP players will receive a 50% discount at the track cost. So I guess that would be, oh boy, that's, when you have an odd number, you're saying, okay, well, half of, so something like 448, I guess we'll say for now. Somewhere around there. We're looking forward to seeing your feedback. Okay, any comments on it? Not that I am ever going to be doing anything with the Monster Player Reward track.
Nope, sounds good.
All right. And finally, Scenario provided us with his third video relating to the rivers of Middle Earth, and this time he was doing the Undoing Part 2, where he started up in the Vales and at Vegbar, and he went all the way down to, and I know he got down to Lothlorien. I think he got down to Lothlorien for this part, Hona. If you want to know where he actually ended at, I guess you could view the video. We do have a link to it in the show notes. And as for store sales, Sans, what's on sale this week?
Well, this week, you can accelerate your adventure with 20% off Gift of the Valor packs, Gift of the Valor level boosts, and Mithril coins through March 12th. And you have a free weekly coupon that gives you a free plus 100% mark acquisition boost for 6 hours with the coupon code MARKMADNESS. That is MARKMADNESS. Also running through March 12th.
I am waiting for the time when the coupon code for the mark acquisition boost is skirmish responsibly.
That would be fun. I wonder if maybe it's too many
You
letters.
probably copyrighted that, haven't you? So.
It would be too.
That'll be 1,000 LOTRO points, please.
Or Netta needs marks.
That would be fun.
Actually, speaking of Netta, I know she did not make an appearance this year. Or was it last year's delayed, so therefore it's pushed back a little bit? Who knows? Well, in any case, let's go into our week in gaming. Krister, what have you been up to?
Well, I hung around with the Ploy folks, and we talked about the new raid, and they were talking about some of the tactics and both how well and how poorly it has gone. And the general consensus was that if you have a group that knows what they're doing, you'll be able to kind of get through it. And if you pug, you'll probably die horribly on the first boss over and over again. So the one thing I did learn is that there's some bad mushrooms in this raid. And I personally know about bad mushrooms because I had a bad batch of deep fried mushrooms years and years ago that still haunts my dreams. And
Were they
besides,
imported from Mordor?
they might have been what are those? What were those mushrooms? The green ones, not the green, the ones that you get close to and they emit the green clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, deep fry. I don't even want to think about deep frying those.
Okay.
And then played some ESO. Had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. And then played some Helldivers too. It was a pretty brutal week at work, but this next week I am on vacation. So looking forward to playing a lot more games. Sans, what were you up to?
Well, since I was last here, I valored a champion and immediately had inventory panic, so I hadn't done very much with that. But also had a great need for more gold because the champion I valored had been level 47 and had their ally already, or both of their allies already. And I don't really want more allies in my inventory, but to reforge the allies costs a lot of gold, and I don't have a lot of gold. So, I took her outside to kill some mobs for things to sell, outside Umbar Barhabel, and she was capable of slowly killing mobs with her level 47 allies, so that was interesting. I might have to try, just equipping 2 of the hero's weapons instead of 1 ally and 1 hero weapon. But it was taking a while. But yeah.
Maybe
Might have to
yeah,
just
maybe
take a different character out and then send gold.
maybe most of your damage was coming from the offhand weapon.
That could be. Because I did have an on-level offhand weapon. And of course, being a level 47 ally, it doesn't have very much available on it, even if it, when it is reforged, there will be lots of empty slots. So, yeah, that was kind of my adventure there. And I did some more cooking in LOTRO, and, still working on cooking reputation there, which is kind of a pain. And primarily because I need more goat shanks, and they do not drop very easily. But I'm still working on that. And I started working on a PvP build in ESO, and have been trying to level it up, which is going kind of slowly because I picked a build that had a fun description and didn't take into account the fact that it's basically a don't get ganked build, but not a actually kill your foes build. So it doesn't have very much DPS going for it. So I've been very slowly working to level up the skills that I need for that. And that was pretty much my week. How was your week, Penleaf?
All right. Well, my warden completed the Song of Waves and Wind storyline finally. Yay! Of course, that means it's back to Mizati to go on to her storyline. But at least I finished one of the major storylines that we have over in the latest expansion. And the Merry Crew, that is our Mariner group that's currently going through Mordor, we skewered several spiders in Hengris. I'm sure Sans will agree that they deserved it.
Always.
Always. And in DDO, I investigated some troubles in a local in a local temple where apparently there were some shenanigans in the sanctuary, so I had to deal with that. And that's it for my weekend gaming. So we actually have a news story that Asmodee and Middle Earth Enterprises are partnering with Sirius to make some official Lord of the Rings tabletop accessories. All right, I'll presume that they have no relationship to the radio network of the same name or anything like that. But anyway, today, tabletop accessories creator Sirius announced a licensing agreement with Asmodee and Middle Earth Enterprises to develop and release a line of officially licensed The Lord of the Rings tabletop gaming accessories. The collaboration will introduce a range of collectible and playable products for fans, including treasure packs, blind pack assortment featuring dice and collectible items, oversized 55mm D20s featuring character-inspired designs from The Lord of the Rings and adventure dice, class-inspired dice sets themed around iconic heroes, creatures, and imagery from Middle-earth. The quote from Lex Chandra, a founder on them, is, "We are thrilled to partner with Asmodee and Middle Earth Enterprises to bring the world of Lord of the Rings to life through beautifully crafted dice-based products. This agreement allows us to combine premium design with beloved storytelling, giving the fans new ways to experience Middle Earth at the gaming table." The first products to arrive in retail with the Lord of the Rings Adventure dice, which is scheduled for release this September. The new line highlights iconic characters, symbols, and moments of Middle Earth while enhancing tabletop gameplay for fans and collectors alike. Following the launch, the Lord of the Rings treasure packs are slated for January 2027. Additional product announcements, previews, and release dates will be shared in the coming months. So, those are some new accessories for it. I get the impression that this must be for their tabletop RPG game because I can't think of any other applications for this so far, but I guess we will find out as things go along. And that's it for our news beyond LOTRO. If you have any feedback to us, you could send it to us to podcast@LotroPlayers.com. The Players Alliance has two shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have Lotro Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You guys join for our shows at LotroPlayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. Then this is Piling Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.